So the next word in the glossary is reification, an important word. Like despiritualization, reification, from the Latin res, or race, meaning thing, describes a flattening out of the life world or aspects of the life world that robs them of their spiritual liveliness and createdness and gives them the character of a fixed thing. When we are withdrawn from others within a circle of collective denial of desire, we tend to give the existing alienated world a fixed character that protects us from experiencing our own longing to transcend the existing world and the risk of humiliation that would be attendant to it. So there are many ways to capture the idea of reification. One is just simply, if you ever pass a house on the street that's under construction and you suddenly see the excavation of the foundation area and you just see the house in the process of being built, you may get a sudden sense of awe as you realize that that thing that you looked at as a house that was there actually is something that is being created and in a certain way being demolished or passing on. It exists in time. It isn't just there as 327 Bloomsbury Street. It's emergent and passing, but we tend to see it as fixed. Or a great example of this is the sidewalk. The sidewalk is where you walk, and the street is where the cars go. And that is sort of when we are existing in the world in a, let's say, a fixed state in which we're enacting our roles, living through our routines. We experience the sidewalk and the street as just the sidewalk is where the pedestrians, where we walk, and the street's where the car goes. But as Mario Savio, the leader of the free speech movement, pointed out in the 60s, he said he first realized that everything could be changed when he started participating in demonstrations and walking in the street. And he realized, hey, the street hasn't always been here as the street. We can transform it. And of course, that is something about a demonstration when you walk right out into the street, is the sidewalk loses its fixed character and the street loses its ownership by cars. So these are small examples of reification and overcoming reification. Bigger examples, more important social examples, are the fixed character we give the social world. For example, if you look at a commercial that might be selling a mouthwash, say, the commercial pictures the housewife, it could be, or coming into the house with some spick and span new mouthwash that goes bing, and she walks in and her laundry's over here, then the bathroom is there. She walks in looking forward to bringing the new mouthwash to her family. Or in the modern, sort of slightly more feminist world, you could have, might be the guy brings home the mouthwash. It doesn't matter. The point is that everything that it forms the background of the commercial is conventional life, in which there's the laundry to be done, the good mouth you want to have smelling good, in the mouthwash in the bathroom. The kids may be eating their cereal at the kitchen table. As let's say she comes in, the house is a middle-class house they may have saved up for. All of these facts about the social world are represented in the commercial as just the way things are. This is how reality is. And the collective bombardment of all these images gives a fixed character to the entire social world as it is, even though human beings have the capacity to completely transform the social world. If you know, in the 1950s, there was a television show called Ozzie and Harriet. Did you ever see Ozzie and Harriet, Brendan?
Yeah, I've seen it
Yes.
in clips. Yeah.
Okay, so Ozzie and Harriet represents the family. There's Ozzie and there's Mrs. Harriet and there's the two boys and uh, uh, the best friend, and it formed a whole world or a picture of the world of the 1950s happy white middle class family in just this fixed character way. So that if you're seeing it over and over again, you just think this is the world. And of course, that's an exaggerated form, but everything in the world, in its what I'm calling its alienated state, represents itself as if it were fixed, and we are withdrawn looking at it from the outside. When there are social movements, I gave the example of Mario Savio, when a social movement arises, all of that fixed character can dissolve before your eyes. And you can realize, no, wait a minute, this all doesn't have to be the way it seems. It can be completely different. We don't have to live in little couples with two nice little children and nice mouthwash pinging up the bathroom. We can live in a completely different way. We can start a commune in Olima and grow our hair long. And that's a great example, was when we grew our hair long in the 60s, we broke through the reification of short hair as the only way a male is supposed to be. And that very act, people were very threatened by it because they're men's alienated and women's pictures of men. Their identity was associated with short hair. We just more or less spontaneously, somebody started it, but more or less spontaneously, not only tried to soften the male gender identity, but also break through the notion that your hair has to be a certain length. If you're a man or a boy, we can make ourselves into what we want to be. And the collective experience of that in the movement is when you break out of your withdrawn, peering out at the world state, as if the world has a fixed character, into a new world that we are affirming in one another as we create the movement. So the movement dissolves or emulsifies the fixed character of the existing world. And that is a breathtaking experience when it happens. You suddenly feel, wow, there's the whole universe here, and we can create it in our, according to a new vision of what we think is good. Okay, so that's reification, something to be overcome.